Hello, Cougar Nation, and welcome back to the Baseball Coaches Weekly for your 2025 Cougar baseball season. I'm Jonathan Shear with the Cougar Sports Network, and joining me today is assistant coach Matt Smith. Coach, thanks for coming on the show today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And, Cougar baseball, it's been a week and a couple days since we last checked in on Cougar baseball, and it's been a solid past week for the Cougars. 4-2 over 3 conference doubleheaders. Swept St. Norbert's up in Wisconsin, and then split series with Dominican and with Benedictine. That Benedictine series, first win over Benedictine in a hot minute for your squad. So productive last couple weeks. You guys are back up to 500 in conference play, a 4-4, so a solid start to your next season. And, just looking back at that, before we get into it in general, that last Benedictine doubleheader, you guys won the first game 3-0, some outstanding pitching, and then dropped the second game in nail-biter 7-6. And it's the second time this conference season we've seen your team drop a game, stranding a runner on third in the bottom of the ninth. And those games, they're heartbreakers. You get that close, and then you still lose it. But that's not to say your team's clutch hitting has been bad. You guys have been very good with runners in scoring position in other games this season as well. That St. Norbert's doubleheader, your team was excellent with runners on bases. So in general, just from the big scheme of things in baseball, how do you kind of work on clutch hitting? What's your focus? How do you help coach out that mentality and technique in those scenarios?
It's a great question. How you kind of stay out of those one-run games at the end is kind of put some more runs up in the beginning and get those opportunities when you have them. But in the game of baseball, especially this year so far with our guys, we've definitely have been in those one-run games. We kind of tell our boys, you go up with the same approach. You're going to, try to move the runner up 90 feet and then pass it off to the next guy. In those situations right there, it's having the right guys in the right spots, which we have. And then, just putting the ball in play and kind of seeing what happens. Especially against Benedictine, the day the wind really wasn't blowing out, it was blowing in that day. So hitting the ball hard on the ground, we're going to take those chances that we're going to do that. And, unfortunately, we just hit it right to somebody. They made the play, and, we stranded a guy at third base with 2 outs. But, that's the game of baseball right there. I think the big one is just being able to teach our guys not to put too much pressure on themselves in that situation, just to kind of play baseball like we always have, and really just go from there.
Yeah, and you mentioned in there that 90 feet pass on to the next guy. Something that I've kind of seen from watching this team over the past week or so is, especially even in conference play as a whole, the manufacturing runs has been going very well for your team. Like you mentioned, hard balls on the ground, just getting balls in play, working guys around the bases. The power bats have been there as well, but that run manufacturing has also taken a step up and been very strong for your team so far. And that's just one of the things that I've noticed from your team over the past week or so. And through a 4-2 conferencing, what's some stuff you saw out of the guys that you liked out of your team that, maybe some small shifts from the very start of conference season, that first doubleheader that you like, and how do you feel about the direction the team's trending right now?
So as Coach Connor spoke last week, it's the game of making adjustments. And that's something our team has done a really good job with. We do have the guys in the lineup with some pop in their bat, but then utilizing what other guys do really well. And manufacturing runs, getting them on base, causing a little bit of chaos on the bases, which then can kind of bring our middle of the order up to where they can kind of do the damage that they need to. So it's really just almost being like a Swiss Army knife of an offense, and that's what's really kind of propelled our offense to kind of stay into games, blow games open, put teams away, is being able to kind of use all different styles to score runs or manufacture a run.
Yeah, definitely. And on the other side of the offense, something I actually want to touch on is the pitching for your team. And on the whole, for most of these games, it's been a very strong pitching unit. Obviously, that last game against Benedictine, the runs weren't limited, but that first game more than made up for it, a 9-inning shutout. And, that St. Norbert series as well, your guys have been pitching very well on the mound. And it's a number of guys who are getting that done. Dylan Ferraro has been great for your team over the past week. we've talked a lot about this year. You guys think you have a very versatile pitching staff. There's a lot of variety you can bring out of the bullpen into games to start. So I want to check in on that. How are you guys feeling with how that's been progressing over the past week? What are some names that you'd like to see take a step up and you're expecting to see to continue to improve?
The pitching staff, those guys have been they've been solid. They definitely have. I think they've taken the message from the fall and into the winter of what we're looking to do and how we're going to be successful. And they've really have embraced it and ran with it and believed in it. And it's kind of bled throughout the entire pitching staff, and they've been able to see that. Yeah. We've kind of simplified of how we want to do things and how we want to attack hitters. And certain statistics that matter to us that are the controllables, and that's really is something, as I said, has kind of as a whole pitching staff where we've seen that success of it. There really isn't any guys that we're looking at that saying, hey, we really need to have you be somebody else or do something different. We just want you to be the same and keep learning after every outing that you have. Hey, what did I do really well right here? What's something I can work on? And then there's always constant improvement. We can never just settle of where we're at, but it's taking what I've done really well, what do I need to work on, and then keep improving there. And I think as a staff, if we have that mentality, keep moving forward and pitch to who we are as an individual, that's what's going to make us successful, not trying to be somebody else. Just be who you are and know what you're capable of doing, and then, the success will be there.
Yeah, definitely. And mention that constant improvement. It's something you're looking throughout the entire season, and as your team continues conference play, next up it's a doubleheader against Edgewood right here at home for Alumni Day, and then you head to take on Aurora this upcoming Wednesday. And those are both, again, more conference series, 4 conference games coming up. Where's your goals set? What do you want to see from the team in those games coming up? And what are you, pretty much just that. What do you want to see? What are you hoping to see improve through those games?
So we can't look at Aurora. We have to look at Edgewood first. We do know that they are on our schedule. And obviously there's a big circle around them just because it's a big rivalry. But Edgewood, we have to take care of business with them. How we take care of business is playing our game. We know what we need to do to be successful against them. And if we can play our game on both sides of the baseball, we're going to be successful, and we're going to give ourselves a chance in those games. As a game of baseball, as you know, you can do all the right things and there could be one hit or whatever it may be and it doesn't go your way. But if we are able to play our style of baseball, it gives us a really good chance of being successful this weekend.
Absolutely. And like we mentioned, Cougars are back in action this weekend, taking on Edgewood starting at noon for a doubleheader right here on the Cougar Sports Network. You'll be able to catch that action right here and catch up on everything you missed at CUCougars.com. Coach, thanks for coming on the show this week, and best of luck to your team throughout this weekend.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Absolutely. And thank you for joining us on the Cougar Sports Network. Make sure to join us next time on the Cougar Sports Weekly. And as always, roll Cougs.